I don't like surprises. You making me nervous here. We'll start off, okay, we'll start off with this. Okay, you've done your research. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was a time in about 2007 where I had a very short stint with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was in the mini camp, so it was a different experience. Going from one sport to another, I gained much more respect for the NFL, how the football is organized, and not just what you see in television, but how it's ran behind the scenes and the hard work that these athletes put in just to get a position. And it's dog eat dog, you know, being out there in the hot suns, practicing twice a day. It was very mentally challenging. I remember going to sleep for the first night and they gave us a playbook, and the playbook consisted of 20 plays. And they just pretty much just gave it to us like, here, learn these plays. And now I've never had any wide receiver, you know, knowledge and history in playing that position. So I'm sitting there and I'm reading these plays and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to memorize 10. At least I'll be 50-50 for it. And I memorized 10, so I got at least 5 or 6 plays and I got them right. The other ones I got cussed out or chewed out on. And I was like, you know what? The next night I'm gonna remember the next 10 and I'll be great for practice. So after we finished the first day of practice, boom, again, another 20 plays to remember. So it was, needless to say, it was a tough experience when it came to the mental aspect of things because it was something so brand new to me and I was thrust into a sport where I was definitely behind, you know, the curve. But athletically, I was able to keep up. So in football, they respected me because I was fast. They didn't know if I can catch the ball or I can run with the ball or even if I can take and hit. So they questioned those things. But when it came to, once I caught the ball, they knew that I was going to be gone. The football players gave me so much respect because in my sport, I reached the plateau. I was Olympic gold medalist. And actually, John Gruden, he was the coach at the point for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and his nickname for me when we was doing filming after practice was gold medalist. So he wouldn't even call me by my name. He's like, gold medalist, what's this player? Gold medalist, how did you run that route? What you supposed to do? Great job, gold medalist. So everyone always would laugh about it, and they picked up on that. That was my nickname. Oh, into already. Here we got Tyson Gay, 9.69, and we have Tokyo 2020. 2 goals that I definitely want to accomplish in the next couple of years. I usually don't give myself a time limit, especially when it comes to my career. And I usually don't speak my goals out loud. I usually try to keep them to myself and try to accomplish them and hopefully shock the world. But I was trying something new and trying to claim it and work hard at it. And I wanted, you know, the world to see me working hard at it and hopefully become successful by being on the 2020 Olympic team and hopefully capturing the American record. That's been eluding me for a while. I would like to be able to end my whole track and field career the way I started my career with an Olympic gold. I want to be able to stand on top of that podium and hopefully leave my spikes right there on the track. And that's the end of my career in Tokyo. Let's see what we got. Okay. Put a little coffee in here, a little tea. It's London. London 2017 World Championships. a very unforgettable year in a lot of ways. I guess leading up to the championship, it was a year where I would say it was probably my most subpar year I've ever had career-wise. I lost a lot of races, I felt, in that year. I wasn't myself. I hold myself to a certain standard when it comes to competing. And being injured definitely didn't help, you know, and stepping on the track knowing that I wasn't at full strength, it made me feel some type of way. You know, it made me feel incomplete. It made me feel vulnerable. But I understand how the sport is. You have to sometimes show up, even if you're not 100%, but you still have to be Justin Gatlin or whoever you're going to be. So leading up to the World Championships, I had to go through nationals, and I had to race against a young guy named Christian Coleman. And I beat him at nationals after coming back off an injury. And then I got ready with 3 weeks to go for London 2017. And leading up to the World Championships, once we got there, I felt ready, felt good. Going through the rounds, experienced something I've never experienced before, being booed to a point where it was like rattling the stadium, like how they celebrated Usain. It was like the opposite how that my boos were. But the crazy thing is that it gave me motivation. Like, it didn't make me feel inferior. It didn't make me want to quit. It actually put fire in me. Standing at that start line and hearing those boos, it made me even more dialed in to want to go out there and run and compete. It didn't matter if the time was going to be super fast or not. I wanted to compete with every fiber in my body. And it gave me a feeling of calm, though, between the races, between the rounds, where I think someone would have came off feeling embarrassed or furious or angry and focusing their attention on the crowd, you know. I felt calm. I felt relaxed. I felt like I should be here. So every time it came closer and closer to the finals, I anticipated the boos to get louder and louder. And I also know that, you know, Usain was definitely the fair-haired child. And by any means, you know, his last 100 meters of his career, his last championship, in one of the places where he is, you know, loved, they wanted to make sure that he went out with a victory. And I felt like at that point in time, I was his biggest rival, and an upset would ruin it. Not only just for him, but for, I don't want to say the sport, but for London, for the championship. Okay. All right, we got the Athens shirt, and we have the book, The Little Prince. Big moments for me. I try not to witness the moment from the outside looking in. So Athens was like a dream to me. Like, when I'm in big moments, I try to be very lackluster about them. Sometimes it takes away from it because once I look back at it, the moment is gone. But to be able to accomplish what I want to accomplish in that moment, I have to be lackluster because I'll get stressed, anxiety, overthink. Those are what a lot of athletes do. They live in the moment, but the moment kind of swallows them up. And they realize that the moment's gone, and they don't know what to do about it except try to recapture it again. And maybe it's not successful. So for me, you know, when I look at Athens, I remember being there in the birthplace of the Olympics and knowing that those small accomplishments that I wanted to do that would lead up to my big accomplishment, which is winning. I wanted to run in Athens. I wanted to run in the birthplace of the Olympics. I wanted to be an Olympian. I wanted to be able to have one of these wreaths on my head. So I made small goals to say, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be hungry enough to get a wreath on my head. First big championship I've ever been in, and it was probably the calmest moment of my whole career and my whole life, even up till now. I was able just to be me. And I know when I got to the starting line, when they said, run us to your mark, I remember just saying, you know, God, just let me go out here and be the best I could be. And if it's not good enough, back to the drawing board. Run us to your mark, set, boom, gun goes off. And it was just like a blur. And then all of a sudden, like, I feel like I came back into myself, into my body, like from an out-of-body experience. And I was 10 meters away from winning. And I remember like a little version of myself in my head jumping up and down like, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win. And then I come across the line, I won. Crowd's going crazy. I felt like I had a crown on my head, so I felt like a little prince. The big man. Usain Bolt here. We have a picture in black and white of after the 100 meters in London, 2017, where I'm paying homage to Usain, and he's looking in disbelief. Like, are you serious? Look at this guy. I can't believe he's really doing this. Are you guys serious? Look at this. That's how the look on his face. Every time I see this picture, I feel like, he's like, look at this. Are you serious? Look at this guy. I think Usain solidified that he was a champion, a force to be reckoned with by the time 2009 came and went. You know, by the time Berlin was gone, I mean, he was already twice over world record holder in both events and the relay. It wasn't much more he could really do in the sport, you know, except just keep winning. And I think that from the outside looking in, it was a lot of athletes who kind of either worked really hard to beat him, or either they kind of just watched in amazement. And I remember coming back into the sport, and me being the competitor I am, all I wanted to do was race this guy. That's all I wanted. I was like, I want to be shoulder to shoulder. Well, I couldn't be shoulder to shoulder because he's 6'5" and I'm 6'1", so he's towering over me, but I wanted to be at the starting line next to this guy. I didn't care what race, I didn't care where we were. I wanted to be able to be next to a guy I felt that really had the opportunity to push me to my physical limits. I wanted to see what I was made of. I really did. And I felt like I never had the opportunity to race somebody who was going to give me that. So I started my journey. I started my journey to be able to shed off almost 15 pounds. I was overweight. Work on getting my form back, and even better, because now these guys are running 9.7s like they were coughing or sneezing. So I had to put myself in a mindset to where I had to come back and be better than when I left the sport, and to be a rival to a guy that seemed unbeatable and no rival he had. I wanted to be, in a way, the track and field version of Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. I remember sitting down with my agent, and this is after the 2017 London race, and he said, things happen for a reason. I was in the best shape of my life in 2015, and I lost to him by 1/100th of a second. And I had him beat dead to rights, and the world probably knew that. I lost that race because I went out there and I looked at Usain as not just a competitor, I looked at him as Usain. I had to regather myself. It was the most hurtful moment I've had, probably one of the hurtful moments I had in my career when it came to competing. I remember I cried like a baby going from like the bird's nest back to the hotel because I lost that race. I did that. And leading up to going through 16 and leading up into 17, our rivalry kind of like, it grew and grew and grew to something that I felt like was uncontrollable. You know, it became fairy tale almost in a way, like good hat, you know, good man versus bad man, black hat versus white hat. And when we saw each other, we never had ill will towards each other. But at the same time, we knew we were competitors. So we never gave each other any, like, the edge. So that night in that race just laid out perfect. You know, I felt like the new guy Coleman was the focal point for you with Usain, and I was in lane 8, so I was far away from them. And in a way, I guess I want to say that the world wanted to push me out and be like, all right, get out the way, get out the way. And I didn't want to be denied. So from lane 8, I won the world championship in 100 meters against Usain Bolt, who'd never been beaten in the world in a championship period before when he was Usain Bolt. And when we crossed the line, I remember him, everyone to this day asks me, what did Usain say to me in my ear when we came across the finish line? And he came over and he embraced me and hugged me after this moment. He's like, you know what? You don't deserve all these boos, man. You've always been a good man. And he said, if anybody had to beat me, I wanted to be you. You've worked so hard at, you know, being the best athlete you can be, and you never backed down when it came to running against me. Congratulations. So to me, that's a true competitor.
Respect.
That's respect right there. He could have easily walked away or act like it's still his moment, but he gave me the moment because I worked hard for it. But I gave him the moment back, and I paid homage to him. Newspapers. This is the first time I've ever seen any of the papers. I knew it was coming, you know? So for at least 3 days, I didn't check any social media. I didn't look on TV. I didn't look online. I didn't go and look at any newspapers or anything. And my inner circle knew that. You know, I knew that it was gonna be an onslaught, you know, of negativity that was gonna come towards us. But it didn't break my spirit. It didn't. For 3 days straight, without having really any line of communication to the outside world, I smiled for 3 days straight. I remember going to sleep smiling, and I can't remember the last time I ever went to sleep smiling before. It just was a moment where it was like, it was just surreal. I was just so happy. Not because I won, it's just because all the hard work paid off. And that year, my injuries made me doubt myself. And I almost called that season quits, actually. I was like, man, I'm injured, I'm not running well, I'm not gonna be a challenge. I'm not gonna be able to go out here and even put up a fight. And I went and I gave it my all. And every step in that finals counted. Every step from the blocks to the finish line, I had to use every step to win that race. Here's my theory, because these moments didn't stop me from walking in the streets in public. These moments didn't stop me after winning to be able to walk around, you know, the city. And when I was out in public and around the city, you would have thought I was a hero. I mean, people are coming up to me and parents are coming up to me and saying, please take a picture with my child. Can you take a picture with us? Can we take a selfie? I didn't hear one person saying, go home or boo or nothing. But it seemed like all the boo birds were all in the stadium, you know? I think it was the media. I think it was the British media that was driving it and making it into a story to sell it better, to be honest. Because my assistant coach, he said the irony of the situation is, why are they booing you now? You ran the same stadium in 2012 and you won the bronze and you was on the podium and no one booed you. So it's not about your past. It's about that you're a threat. You're a threat to a legacy that no one wants to see become tarnished. I think that the media wanted to sensationalize something and make it evil versus good, white hat versus black hat, tarnished versus polished. And I think that if I was a part of media, I could understand that. I can't protect them. That's one thing I hate. I can't protect them. The only thing I can do is either give up, stop running, and just fade away to black, or either keep winning. The people who believe in me, it gives them a reason just to keep going. I can't protect my son from this. He's gonna have to see me one day and know everything I've been through in my life, all my ups and downs. But I'll be able to tell him these stories as a man, you know, and say, you know, this is what your father's been through, and this is how hard he's worked, not only for myself, but for him. Let's do this one. Okay, okay. Got some maps. These look familiar. Is this Creepo? They're looking for that mayor, right? I self-proclaimed myself mayor of Creepo. You know, it's only 4 people that live in Creepo, so I'm trying to be the 5th person that live in Creepo. I think that I have a couple laws that I want to put in place. It's gonna brighten it up. You know, first of all, I'm gonna paint all the houses and the buildings pastel colors. It's gonna stick out on the side of the mountain. It's gonna look beautiful. People are gonna come far and wide from all around the world to see this. They're not gonna come to the Swiss Alps. They're gonna come see the Swiss Alps and these beautiful houses sitting on the side of the Swiss Alps. And I'm gonna make sure all the citizens, which are only 4 people, are all wearing Christmas sweaters, not during Christmas though. It's gonna be a beautiful thing. Vote for me. I love it. There's only one other place I've ever been in the world where I feel like I was on a different planet, and that was in Japan, obviously, because Japan is Japan. It's a place that you can't forget. It's a place that you definitely want to come back to. I had one of the best times of my whole life just going on a trip for a couple of hours and going into the springs and seeing how people are just having a carefree time and just relaxing, enjoying themselves. I like to know more about the history, you know? And my tour guide was on point. He definitely gave us the tour, gave us the tidbits of everything. He pointed out certain places. He pointed out, obviously, my future residence, Creepo. So like, he showed me where I'm gonna be living at. And in 7 years, they're gonna renovate it and make sure that it's a better looking place. So I'm happy to be able to come here a couple days early and really experience a hidden gem, definitely. This place is a hidden gem. It's very beautiful. And I'm taking this book home with me.